Hi, everybody. This is the comic book cut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion, your host, the Hunt, and welcome back to the comic book cut. Hopefully, you like this video and smash that subscribe button. As you know, comics are a disaster, and one of the disasters, and really was like a disappointment for a lot of people, was what happened with the X-Men and this Jonathan Hickman storyline that he created a few years ago, the Krakoan age. And there was no there was a beginning to it, but there was never a finish to it. Now, this was not considered Jonathan Hickman's best outing, okay? And part of it was just he turned all these great heroes from the X-Men, lore, and turned them into villains. They were at war with the Fantastic Four, and it just fizzled out. There was a lot of sort of virtual signaling, a lot of nonsense that happened in this run, and that people just didn't like. Well, Jonathan Hickman has a lot of regrets. And this is a headline from Bound in the Comics. Marvel Comics, Jonathan Hickman says X-Men's Krakoan age was his most disappointing creative experience because he couldn't finish the story. He couldn't finish the job. The job was a disaster to begin with. In an unfortunately apt example of the idea that you can't win them all, Marvel Comics writer Jonathan Hickman has admitted that due to events out of control, preventing him from actually closing out the ambitious X-Men story arc, as he considers his work on the team's Krakoan age to be his most disappointing creative experience. You think so? An overarching storyline that ran across the entirety of the publisher's X-Men line from 2019 to 2024. 5 years. Holy shit. You better finish that garbage. You better finish it. If it's going to take 5 years to tell, you better make sure you finish the storyline. The Krakoan age revolved around the idea of Professor X terraforming the sentient island of Krakoa into a universal home for all mutant kind, and doing so attempted to take his people out of the shadows and give them protection in the form of a Homo superior based ethno state. That sounds like Hitler. This sounds like Hitler, folks. Originally, Hickman planned for his storyline to be grand, 3-part epic. Its narrative providing a similar status quo elevation to the X-Men that his Infinity Arc did for the Avengers. However, this epic would never come to be, as when Hickman was gearing up to move the story into the second act, he was shocked to learn that, to a man, everyone wanted to stay in the first act. It was really interesting, he told Entertainment Weekly in August of 21, because I appreciate the House of X resonated with them to the extent that they didn't want it to end, but the reality was that I knew I would be leaving the line early. As such, Hickman worked with Marvel Comics to reorient the entire X-Men line, thus taking a sledgehammer to his original plans for the entire Krakoan. Hickman, who has since gone on to pen the currently ongoing Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 3 and the soon-released Imperial crossover, reflected on his time with Marvel's Merry Band of Mutants, turned appearance on the 490th episode of the comic-centric off-panel podcast as hosted by David Harper. Fielding questions from Harper's Patreon subscribers, Hickman was at one point turned to the topic of Krakoa and asked as to what, if anything, really stood out about that experience overall to you. To which he affirmed, I've said this multiple places at this point, but it is the most disappointing creative experience that I've had because I didn't finish the story I set out to do, which is a cardinal sin and a total bummer. If you're going to waste 5 years of readers' time with an average or mediocre storyline, you better make damn sure you finish it. You got to finish it. You have to. I mean, if you're gonna do a storyline, I hate to be a nag and be like a parrot, repeat myself, but if you're gonna do a story, no matter how long and if the longer the story goes, you better finish it. It's one thing if you have like 6 issues to do a storyline and you drop it. Like one of the things that I would have loved to see how it got finished was the John Byrne run on the Incredible Hulk that he did back in the 80s. He only did 6 issues of it. It was great. He was able to separate the Hulk from Bruce Banner, which was never done before. And they had them live in separate lives and separate experiences. He never finished that. It would have been great to finish it, but it was only 6 issues. He was on this and he was running this storyline for 5 years. You have to finish it. Okay? No matter what. That's got to be something as a creator. You have to have some kind of sense of the audience wanting to have a payoff. Where's the payoff? Well, apparently wasn't any payoff because the fans of the books and the people reading the books didn't get the payoff. And it wasn't that, it wasn't that great. It was a lot of like voodoo nonsense. It was I read some of it. It was very strange stuff. But, and Hickman's a very good writer, but, his Fantastic Four run's very good. But I'll tell you, that the whole concept of the Krakoan age was not great. It was, I don't know if it was too large or he had too many people's hands in it or what. It would have made more sense if it was done as a limited series and that was it. That's probably what they should have done. Would have beginning, middle, and the end. But like I said, if you're going to go 5 years with this and you have it involved in all of your X-Men books, you better finish it. Finish it and get it over with and be done with it. Well, I'm going to get done with this video. I'm sure you're sick of hearing me talk. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to the Comic Book Hut, and I'll see you later.